As swine flu continues to spread across the world, so do theories about its origin. US investigative journalist and RT contributor Wayne Madsen says he's gathering more and more evidence that the H1N1 virus started out in a lab. Well, he's now in Washington with RT's Priya Sridhar. Priya, tell us, what new proof is there to support this theory?
That's right, Bill. Well, we've been talking a lot about the swine flu in the past couple months, and just recently the first shipment of the swine flu vaccines have been available in the United States. But now we're learning more information on how the H1N1 virus actually came to exist here in this country. And joining me to talk more about it is RT contributor and investigative journalist Wayne Madsen. Wayne, thanks so much for joining me. So first of all, tell me, what have you learned about how the H1N1 virus came to exist here in this country?
Well, it's very apparent that there's three research centers involved in the development in a laboratory of the 1918 Spanish flu, which was actually resurrected. The proper name should be the Jurassic flu. It was resurrected from the DNA extracted from an Inuit woman who died of this pandemic in 1918 in Breivik Mission, Alaska. The material was taken to several laboratories, and what I've discovered is that three particular laboratories are very much involved in this research. The University of Madison at Wisconsin, the National Microbiology Laboratory in Spanish flu.
And I mean, how exactly did this happen? This is the 21st century. I mean, how could these gene sequences get manipulated and then be disseminated throughout the country?
Well, apparently what we are seeing is this could have been the product of some overzealous research on the part of the research scientists, the microbiologists, or there may be something more sinister. The University of Wisconsin at Madison has interest in a company called FluGen, which stands to make an awful lot of money from a method that they developed to deliver the vaccine for H1N1. The other thing is in 2001, at the height of the anthrax attacks in this country, a Harvard microbiologist named Dr. Don Wiley, who was on the scientific advisory board of St. Jude's, died. They say he jumped off a bridge into the Mississippi River in Memphis after he attended a banquet in his honor. All indications are that was not a suicide. Even the Shelby County, Tennessee one.
So this is some pretty scandalous stuff that you're saying. I mean, is it being investigated, and how can, the United States prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, I think what we have here is a situation with bioethics. They talk a good game in the medical research community about bioethics, but it doesn't seem like there's any method to enforce the ethics. And if, in fact, this was developed to make money for certain biopharmaceutical companies, of course, this is a case of bioterrorism. It may be bioterrorism sought, but many people have died around the world from this. Right now, it doesn't appear that the FBI or any other law enforcement agency is actively investigating it, which brings up the anthrax case, which some people say that was not adequately investigated either.
And so there were obviously some major things that went wrong with this research, but did anything good come out of it that we could maybe use now that it's been, disseminated?
The research community, of course, involved with this research will say that this H1N1 was redeveloped as a method to combat a resurrection of the pandemic of 1918. But we have several cases. We had a case in May where a scientist from the National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg was caught bringing Ebola and HIV DNA across the U.S.-Canadian border at Pembina, North Dakota, was arrested, apparently was freed. He was on his way to the National Institutes of Health right outside of Washington, D.C. There also was a case where a Japanese researcher involved in the same research was caught taking H1N1 DNA out of Surabaya Airport in Indonesia to Japan. Japan is also involved in some of this research.
Some pretty interesting revelations, and we'll certainly keep you updated on anything we